Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood.
When we last left our two adventurous podcasters, they were discussing the wheeled wide web. This time, what will they do? What will they find? And will they be brave enough to ask the question? Hey, what's up with cars?
That's the theme from the Adventure Zone. It's a podcast. We talk about the McElroy brothers a lot. It's one of theirs. That was kind of the joke. We're doing a Dungeons and Dragons thing today, folks.
Dungeons and Dragons, except this time, there aren't no dragons, they're cars.
Get them out of here!
All right, so this episode I had several strange, ridiculous goals for, and guess what? I've met all of them. Just kidding, that would be insane. But I've got a few, and I've got a few ideas, so I'm sorry.
Real quick. My name's Lucas Southworth. His is John Bishop. We forgot to say it. That's okay. Go ahead, John.
For the purposes of this episode, I shall be referred to as, and only as, the Car Master.
I'm absolutely not going to call you that.
Fair.
Just right off the bat, it's not happening.
All right. Okay, so, Dungeons and Dragons. We have some experience with Dungeons and Dragons, and by we, I mean, I know that I've played it quite a bit.
I've played like 2 one-shots, but I've played a lot of GURPS, which is basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's a generalized universal role-playing system. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not as good, in my opinion, but it's still pretty good.
And knowing that GURPS is generalized universal role-playing system, you want to go ahead and tell our lovely listeners what you named the podcast Zencaster, I don't know,
recording session.
Pod session?
Sure, that works too. I named it Carps, because John said he was going to incredibly loosely base it on GURPS, sort of, if I remember right. So I was like, I don't know. There's sort of a car sound in GURPS. Not really, but it wasn't what I was going to name the episode, and we didn't have to tell people this. John just wanted to embarrass me.
That is true. All right, so when I said it's going to be kind of vaguely like GURPS, what I meant by that was that it's going to be a system that I have designed based on the idea of I wanted to make a system for making systems, and I wanted to use that system to make this game. I wanted it to be very simple and easy to do, and by that I mean I wanted the creation of the game and the playing of the game to be simple and easy to do, even if making the game system wasn't necessarily. So my end goal was to just make something for making something, which is something I've gotten into a very bad habit of doing recently. Just yesterday, I built a 3D printer again.
Did you 3D print it?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, that's still cool.
In my defense, this one's bigger than my other printers.
Could have 3D printed the parts, John. You know this more than I do.
All right. So, for our system, I wanted to simplify game mechanics in a very strange way. I really like the idea of lasers versus feelings.
Sure. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. So there's a game system, I think, called Lasers versus Feelings. And it was a very simple system where you had one stat, and that one stat is a number 1 through 6. You pick a number, and then you roll higher or equal to get lasers or feelings, and then lower for the opposite one. And if you get exactly your number, you get something called laser feelings, which allows you to ask a question.
Oh.
It's designed for role playing a lot more than anything else. So I like the idea of that, and I kind of wanted to make the system like that, except instead of one, I have three main stats. The three main stats I have decided I would like you to guess.
One, real quick, I'm sure you maybe heard my audible excitement than disappointment that when I heard the term laser feelings and then it meant that you can ask a question. I think they could have done more with the term laser feelings. Uh,
You know, I
but
gotta say, you're totally right.
that's, yeah. But the three stats you've decided on, these are not cars based yet because this is your generalized thing. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, man. Strength, health, likability,
No.
anywhere close.
Uh, two of those are encompassed by one of mine.
Body,
Yes, that is one of them.
body, mind,
Yes.
soul.
Yes. All right. So the three that I have focused on are mind, body, and soul. But really, it's a system for building your own world and your own way of playing. So if you want to change it to anything you want, feel free. The idea behind it is you want three things that are fairly rock, paper, scissors, so you can have advantage or disadvantage based on your action. And I've also got a weird mechanic called a push or a pull. So if you're pushing, the rock, paper, scissors goes one direction. If you're pulling, it goes the other. And basically, push or pull, it's whether you're being aggressive or whether you're being passive. And it's just kind of a, are you doing something external or are you doing something internal? And
Okay.
it's kind of defined by the players and the DM. It has to be something agreed upon, but if it's not agreed upon, then the DM has the final say.
Yes.
All right.
As they always should.
Now is for the part where I must involve my co-host. What do you think we should include in regards to mind, body, and soul for cars?
Okay. Well, are you asking like what should we call body or what like body should affect?
Uh, the first one, the former, the
Okay.
former.
So what we should well, the cars do have a body.
True.
Uh so that's my immediate thought.
All right. So body
Steel.
works.
They also have a mind and presumably a soul. I'm
Okay.
sorry that I'm not much help with this
See,
so far.
for this one, I wanted soul to be more of a an interesting thing where it's going to represent fuel and it's going to represent uh, abilities you have, upgrades you can get to your car.
Okay. Yeah, that's fun. I like it.
So, any ideas based on that instead of calling it soul?
Yes. So it's sort of like what you can use that
Mm-hmm.
isn't just your car body.
And just to go ahead and get this out of the way, I've decided that mind is mostly going to be for the purposes of this game, uh, like skill, how good you are at getting in and out of situations.
Sure. What are like upgrades to your car called? Like if you do like some modifications to your car, like put a cool spoiler on it. What's like the cool racing term for that?
A mod.
Mods.
Mods, okay. But it also represents fuel.
Mods and fuel. Fuel mods. Fuel rods, that's nothing. I'm getting further away. Uh
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just going to say
Yeah.
mods.
Mods
Uh,
hey, fuel modifies a lot.
it really does. All right. Mind, I'm just going to change that to skill. And body can
Okay.
just stay body. In this game, I wanted it to. Okay, so I wanted each of these three things to have associated actions and associated permanent and temporary uh, aspects to them. So for body, I wanted it to have the permanent is how many hit points you have.
Yeah, checks out.
And for the temporary, I was thinking your general speed, how fast you can be going.
And then like if you have some nitrous type stuff, you could, I don't know, use some mods to increase that number as a temporary thing maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And for skill, what is a good thing for temporary? What is a good thing for permanent? I think for permanent, I wanted it to be advantage, and it's going to be how many times you can re-roll for advantage in a day.
Okay, yeah.
Because I want re-rolls to be common, just because it's a very competitive game that I'm trying to make.
That makes sense to me. For like it's more temporary thing, I think like handling
Mm-hmm.
would be a very car specific thing because that will be, that'll be basically like your dexterity, I would say.
I think I've reversed this a bit. So,
Okay,
okay, yeah, I've reversed this. Hit points, that is the temporary because it's how much you start out with, and then you can lose and gain hit points, I guess. And the
sure.
max speed is your that is something that's not going to change throughout the day. And
Hmm.
advantage, how many times you use that's going to be temporary. And for the other one, you said you wanted it to be dexterity?
Basically, but like handling and like skill at driving, like how good you are besides just going fast, basically.
Would that be control?
Control works too, yeah.
And for soul. For that, it was going to be fuel is the temporary one. And whatever you spend your mod points on is what is going to be the permanent one. So it's skills that you can buy, upgrades you can buy.
I feel like we could also get maybe like some sort of luck stat in there if we really wanted it. If we want some sort of luck factor, I think it would go well in the soul slash mods bit. Sort of
I
an
feel
ethereal
like
concept.
I feel like that's what advantage really is just your ability
Yeah, you're
to
right.
reroll.
Fair enough.
All right. So for that one, we're really just going to need to make a list. It's going to be what do we think would be some good mods for cars? And I am thinking, let's just talk about the movies. What kind of weird, crazy things can certain characters do?
Well, I think for like some very basic ones, like we're talking nitrous, like maybe a spoiler to increase like handling every once in a while or control. But like the more crazy ones, I mean, Mater's hook is the first thing that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
My boy can do a lot with that thing.
All right. So I've got Nitro. I've got Hook.
And I don't know if this would be a mod so much as like just like part of your character class or race, but like the forklifts again, they can do a lot more than your average car.
Just gonna put Fork for that.
Yeah, some
All
cars
right.
can shoot missiles and be a submarine. I don't know how crazy we want this to get.
All right. Let's include that. I'm just gonna say Missile. We've got Nitro, Hook, Fork, Missile.
I know I'm getting very specific, but I'm also thinking of Miss Fritter's buzzsaw stop sign. That one's very on the nose, but man, I imagine that would help you in several combat situations in a card based role playing game.
Just gonna say Combat Weapon.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So, yeah, that works. I think these are good for now.
Yeah,
All right. So, base stat, I want everyone to have 3 of each in general. And then I'm going to have a race and a class. What are we doing for races?
I mean, do we want to include planes and boats and not cars, or do we want to keep this to cars?
I mean, it's going to be very limiting if a person makes themselves a boat and the rest of the party is a bunch of cars, but I want the option to be there.
Okay, works for me then. I mean, cars, boats, planes. I think forklifts should be its own race. Then there could be like sub races, kind of how there are in D&D.
Mhm.
uh, for like specific things. Like you could be like a racing plane or a cargo plane, which would be hugely different play styles. But
I mean, that's class.
yeah, there we go. Helicopter, its own thing. Construction equipment, its own thing.
It is now.
Nice. I love it.
Anyone else we want to include?
Submarines, their own thing, or a class of boats? I would think they'd be a class of boats off the top of my head.
If we're doing planes and helicopters,
That's fair. Yeah. So I'm also fine with folding helicopters in. I'm fine going either way.
all right. I'm going to remove helicopter then, and I'm going to add tank.
Yeah, I was trying to get to some military vehicle.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got cars, boats, planes, tank, forklift, and construction.
I'm sure there are more, but I like those a lot for now.
I think I'm going to add. No, okay. We're not going to do that. That's going to
Okay,
be a monster. Okay. So we got
got it.
races. Now, what are the classes? Racer.
Yeah. Did we talk about this some in Fantasy or whatever I called that one?
Probably. All right. Racer. Supply. You like supply?
That covers a lot of like I would call Mac a supply. I would call like cargo planes and ships supply. I think that works well. Do we need some sort of like combat one? Because like I don't know, Sarge is sort of like a combat car, and there are battleships and fighter planes outside of just like the tanks. You know?
I'm going to go ahead and say no, but
Sure.
I will say that the reason I'm saying no is because spy.
Spy's good, yeah, and like you can take it more in like a military direction if you feel so led.
Mm-hmm. I've got racer, supply, spy, F and R.
Fire and rescue's got to be in there, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of cars are doctors, and that
Yep.
could get in a nice healer.
I'm just gonna say
Because
healer.
yeah, what can I say, man? Lots of cars are doctors.
All right, so we've got fire and rescue. I assume those are gonna be like the clerics.
Ooh,
We've got
yeah, that works for me.
healers. Those are specifically a class of healers. So like also clerics, but focused.
Yeah,
All right, I think we need a good caster.
good caster. Didn't again? I'm basing this on fairy tales. I went back and looked. But didn't we say Mater was a sorcerer or something like that?
Probably.
We sure did. Would that make all tow trucks sorcerers? That doesn't sound right.
You know what? We've got racer, we've got supply, we've got spy, we've got fire and rescue, we've got healer. Let's just go ahead and say like wizard.
I love it. That's my John. I've liked a lot of parts of this. That's my favorite part of this
All
so
right.
far is that we're like there are racing cars. Also, I don't know, man. There are wizard cars. We want to make a fantasy game.
All right. So we've got cars, boats, planes, tanks, forklifts, construction, racer, supply, spy, fire and rescue, healer, wizard. All right. I think we've just about got everything we need for a basic game. All
Cool.
right. We'll need to decide some stat stuff, but that's just numbers, and the rest of this hasn't been exactly exciting, but it's been something.
Sure. Yeah.
I had a few ideas of how to gamify this. One was just I
Good.
designed a basic racing section that's just, hey, here's how racing will work, but that's not a complete game. It's more like
Yeah.
I designed it to be like checkers.
If anything, I would call it a mini game,
Yep,
almost like a miniaturized game.
like a game, but smaller.
Yeah, something like that. If only they had a term that I hadn't already said for it.
Yep,
Uh, well, I mean, for Dungeons and Dragons and other role playing systems, the game is whatever you make it. Like most people
absolutely.
are like, ah, we will go on the quest and beat Big Bad. But like that doesn't have to be it. You could just be like, okay, you're gonna be on a farm, and whoever farms the best gets the most moral satisfaction from playing this game. John, I said that as like a bad example. I would play that if someone would DM it for me. That sounds
Lucas,
utterly relaxing. It's
I
Stardew
got you.
Valley, and that's why I'm into it
Yeah,
because
I
I'm
was
very
gonna
into
mention
Stardew
that.
Valley.
See, it's also
But
Minecraft, and I'm very into Minecraft.
yeah,
Okay, have I told you about my hotel?
no, I don't think you have, bud. I would love to hear about it.
In Minecraft, I spent so much time. That time I was playing Minecraft every night, and you would see me every night playing Minecraft. What I was
It's
doing
true.
was I was building a hotel, and I got a few villagers, like a zombie villagers, and I cured them, and then I just kept them in an area and made a ton of beds and wheat and gave them jobs. And then next thing you know, I had like a 5 or 6 story hotel with like 30 rooms on several floors of just so many villagers. It was
John,
beautiful.
I have an important question for you.
Yep,
Did you let them leave the hotel?
rarely. I did
I
let
don't.
them walk outside. Well,
Okay,
some of
was
the
it
special
fenced
ones.
in?
It was fenced in.
Okay, so what you've done is you built a villager prison, complete
I,
with prison yard.
Lucas, I will say there was a prison in the building.
I'm sure that surprises me literally not at all.
In the basement, I included a jail.
Like hotels have. I'm taking this away from you because last week I told you I met Lightning McQueen and you made me almost dissociate about it. So that was sort of my lesser revenge for that.
I mean, they were allowed to use the elevator system, so that's
Ooh,
nice.
what personal freedoms they enjoy.
They were allowed to
Excuse
choose their
me.
own job. And I
Did you
paid
pay them
them
for the
well.
job?
I paid
In
them
what?
so well. I paid them
In
in
what?
whatever they asked for and emeralds.
Okay. Aren't emeralds famously useless in Minecraft except to give to villagers?
They're also great for decoration.
So much like our prison system, the pay you gave them was almost meaningless and to pretend it's not slavery. That was a bummer. Let's talk about your cars game.
All right. So you got cars, boats, planes, tanks, forklifts, construction. I'm going to say that tanks does not mean vehicles with a giant gun attached. I'm just going to say it means something like really big, hefty, and can take a punch.
Much like the tank archetype in games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So the difference between cars, boats, planes, how they travel, but also speeds at which they travel.
Yeah. And
All right.
obviously they have, the obvious advantages of like plane can go on land, but not as good as car. Car
Mm.
can go in water, but die.
All right. So I think we've got a decent thing here. All right. After all of that jazz and work. Oh no, I skipped the question from Liz this week.
Oh no! Do you still have one?
I mean, I had. Yes, but we've already answered it.
John, I would love to hear a question from Liz.
So, what kind of races would there be in the Cars D&D?
I'm so glad you asked. One of them, it was his wife. Presumably all of them. Like, we've seen plane races, we've seen car races. Boats can go at different speeds. So, there are boat races. There
No,
are
she
boat races.
she meant like
Oh,
cars, boats, planes, tank, forklift, construction. That's how we've
okay.
already answered the question. All
Okay.
right.
Man, I know we made this point back in fairy tales too, but race is is a difficult term to use well in this a Dungeons and Dragons for cars.
Mm-hmm. So that all is working out. All right. And I've generally wanted to make like 3 basic levels we could all run through. And what it would be is I'm going to base them on the movies. And by the movies, I mean the Cars movies.
Checks out. That
I've
that
decided that
would
the
make
level
sense.
cap is going to be level 1 through 5. And I've just decided that, you know what? We're going to include 2 other movies. You know what 2 movies we're going to include, Lucas?
Turbo is one of my guesses. My other guess is Wally because gosh, we always get back to Wally, huh?
Our other 2 movies that I'm going to gamify are, of course, Boats and Cars 4, a
Oh
Cars
gosh, I could
story.
have gotten that.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, that's fair. But real quick, I want to say maybe for the max level, like you can't be. Are we talking like level progression or like a level as in a area of play?
As in progression.
Cool. For max level, could it be like Mater's Tall Tales level, in which you are the god of your universe and
I'm
nothing
going to
matters but
say
you, the player?
that would work very well as a secret level 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, that is beautiful.
Cool. Love it.
All right. So, how is a wizard going to work as a class?
John, honestly, how I want Wizard to work as a class is I want it to make no sense. I want it to be as if you were playing just a human who happens to be a wizard, but you're a car or plane or boat or tank or other races we decided. I don't want it to be specific to cars whatsoever, is my thought.
As we have discussed before, there are gods in this universe, in this world. I'm not talking about Mater. I'm talking about trains, the
And
progenitors of
Mater.
this world. Well, of course, there's Mater, but
Yeah.
in this D&D for the Cars universe, let's go ahead and say that there are like elder beings, these demigods and gods that are trains and like giant pirate ships and whatnot, and like
I'm
the god of the sea is a giant old wooden ship. A steam engine train is the god of the land, and like I don't know, a
I
blimp.
would say, yeah, I would say something like a dirigible, because it's an old timey word. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically a blimp.
Nice, nice. All right, so racer, they're gonna be our generic fighter. They're gonna be uh a well-rounded person, but they're gonna be like the class that's the folk hero. They're the everyone kind of knows them. They're the jovial nice guy. I like to play them as yeah, they're just pretty good at like doing the one thing.
Sort of like if you choose to be like a human warrior in Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah,
like the base.
the
Like if
base
you are a
base.
car racer.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's a generic. If you are a racer, you're just kind of the base in general, but definitely for car, it's the most base. Like, could you like if you saw a construction equipment vehicle as a racer, that'd be pretty cool.
I'd be into it. Man,
Mm-hmm.
do they race like I'm sorry. Do they race those I would go to that.
I don't know. Also, in this world, let's pretend that demolition derbies are far more common.
For all we know they are. I mean,
Yep.
Lightning, as we've talked about, was not like, my god, what a horrendous blood sport. He was like, oh gosh, a demolition derby. I know what this is immediately once it
Mm-hmm.
started happening. So like he knew.
We've got the racer who's good at racing. We've got Supply, the support character who can always have what you need. We've got the spy who is the, I guess, rogue. We've got fire and rescue. They are I don't know cuz they were going to be the healer, but I like them being a caster. That's just a different kind of caster.
I could also see him as sort of like a ranger type
Okay.
character,
Yeah, they're
someone attuned with
rangers.
nature.
All right. The rangers, then you've got general healer, and then you've got wizard,
Who's a wizard.
which I have to assume is what Mater is.
Yeah. Wizards are
Mater's a
just
wizard.
wizards.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
That's how they work.
Time travel, that's going to be an ability they have. Lightning bolts, probably.
Yeah. All
I
checking
don't
out
know.
so far.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Any ideas for general activities to include in the game?
Well, first off, I was just curious. I assume there will be some sort of random number generation involved in this, as there often is in role playing
Yes.
games. With
Every
what is it?
roll, every
Yeah.
roll will be a d6.
John, I'm so glad you mentioned that without me even leading you to it, because that means it's time for the
Diddle diddle, the car and the fiddle. Here's that quote. Yeehaw!
of the day. I'm gonna tack that on to all of them because I think it makes them funnier. Uh, unsurprisingly, that came to us from number one fan Faith, who named the wiki quote of the day segment that time. Thank you, Faith. You are a monster, and we love you very dearly. This time, we are going over to worldofcarsdriving.fandom.com. I think I can easily say my most used wiki slash wiki slash porto underscore corso, which, if you don't remember, that's that Italian place they went in cars to. Uh,
All right.
this one, man, I struggled to have something relating to a Cars role playing game. So here's what I got. In the trivia section, it says at the craps table in the Porto Corso Casino, the game is played with fuzzy dice, much like the kind one might find hanging from a car's rearview mirror.
Okay.
Yeah, I it took me a while, man. I couldn't there aren't dragons mentioned. There aren't dungeons. There are paladins. So I got to dice. It does seem, though, that the fact that there is a string connecting the two dice and they are soft would really affect the probability of any given number going
I
up. So
imagine
that
that
would make,
Snake Eyes would be impossible.
yeah, I don't know. It seems like gambling would be stupider, is
Yep.
the word I'm coming to.
I don't know what if it's like this weird thing where you have to add up the numbers you get.
What?
Like, you say you roll it, and then okay, so you're pretty much limiting yourself to only being able to roll 5 of the 6 sides because of the string, but really 4 of the 6 sides because it's gonna not really turn over to that last one. So you have that, but
Yeah.
then you have 4 other sides. So like if that string isn't like rigid at all, it could turn easily, rotating so you're getting different numbers. So you could get like 1 through 4 on one, well, 4 through 5 on one, and then 4 through 5 on the other. And you have to add those. And then like a very rare or special occasion is if you get the other numbers that are much less likely. I don't know, it could be fun.
Could be fun. John's
Probably
review is
not.
in. Could be fun. Probably not. I agree. Again, I had to stretch for that one, so that's the end of the fart noise yeehaw quote of the day. Thank you again to number one fan faith.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So, for a base for each character, everything is going to be you get 3 mind, body, and soul, or 3 skill, body, and mods. All right. That's for base. And then for level 1, I think we're going to have to choose what each like class will rely on. And honestly, I'm liking the idea of a class in this game being how you choose to play it rather than uh, something that is all that defined. So, like, honestly, I'd like it if class in this system just means the flavor you're adding to your character.
So it'd be kind of like alignment is in D&D. Nothing that
Yeah.
directly affects your stats or abilities per se,
Hmm.
but just like something you choose to play by. I could see there being a good system like, is it inspiration in Dungeons and Dragons when you do good job role playing?
Yeah, you do a good job role playing, so you get inspiration points.
Yeah, I could see there being something like that in which if you choose instead of just be like, "Oh, I push with mind," if you're like, "Oh, I like do this cool maneuver because this is my character," the dungeon master or whomever would be like, "Okay, cool. You can roll with advantage without having to use your your daily advantages or whatever you were saying earlier." And again, dungeon master gets like, if you do a bad job role playing of like, if you're a tank or a supply and you're like, "Ooh, I outrace them very easily because I go very fast," they'd be like, "Okay, but like that's a dumb choice, so you're going to do a bad job unless you get roll miraculously, or I may not let you do it at all."
So I like that for general actions. You choose, like, if you're doing charisma, you can use whichever stat you think is justified based on flavor. But I think it'll be like, oh, I'm using my skill to talk this person into letting me past, or I use my body stat to intimidate them, or I use my special because I'm a wizard and I cast a spell on them.
John, I can tell you're not as jazzed about Wizard just being Wizard. Let me tell you, the more we talk about it, the more it's my favorite thing about this game. It's that Wizard's just Wizard, but car.
See, the
Wiz
thing
card.
is, I really love Wizard because it's like, oh, there's just a wizard. And since this is a Disney Pixar franchise and Tow Mater exists, like that makes sense. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I keep imagining the situation where I'm like, okay, so you're a race car. What do you do? Well, I guess I drive real fast. Okay. And you're Tow Mater the wizard. What do you do? I cast a spell and teleport to the end of the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you done got me there.
As as the DM, I would have to constantly be problem solving. It's like, okay, what you do is you teleport the amount of distance you could have traveled. So basically, it's just constantly nerfing it. It's just, oh, the flavor is amazing, but also you're doing some weird stuff. And then you say, okay, you can teleport. And they're like, okay, and then you try and make a puzzle where they have to like race really good to get a key to unlock a door, and they're just like, no, I teleport past the door. You let me teleport before.
Ah, but there are magic teleporting dampening fields here. Sorry.
Yep.
Anti teleport runes. Did you not see them?
You know, in the Cars universe, all the anti-teleport runes.
John, you let me have wizard. We are going to have to adapt to it.
No, we're doing this. There's a wizard class. It's great, and they're also godlike beings that are trains. So like, they're probably just gonna have magical powers too.
Yeah, but you can't play as the trains.
You can't,
They're
but I can say that like they're your deity, and that's where you get your magic from.
yeah, so that could be another reason. Like if it's more like that of like you receive your power from a being, if they try to pull some baloney, you could be like, well, your deity doesn't like that, so he's not going to give you the power to do that. Sorry.
So I'll have them describe their goal, and they're like, okay, so I want to be over there. All right, who's your deity? My deity is the Lord of Train. Okay, train tracks appear from you to there. Good luck.
Or, or just like, train god, he loves hard work, so he wants to see you put in the physical effort to get over there.
Or you just transform into a train.
John, if
You
you
are
give me the
temporarily a
ability,
train.
you give me the ability to transform into a train in this, you know that's going to be my solution to every single thing in this game.
All right, so this is going to be when I introduce the fact that there are like there's a gradient to how difficult tasks are, and I've calculated it out. I've done a lot of number crunching uh, in my spare time, and I've got a difficulty scale. But this difficulty scale isn't like, oh, you have to roll a 5, you have to roll a 10. No, it's a difficulty scale from like 6 to 20, and that scale is it should be nearly impossible to fail to it is actually impossible to succeed. So like, oh, you're wanting to do that? Well, that's going to take a roll of 20, which is one more than capable of being done.
Got him.
But the
Airtight.
thing is, I like the idea of having it be if you roll absolutely perfectly, you can achieve any task. But then people are going to be like, I drive so fast that I just drive on the water. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, it much like what else we've been saying. It's just like critical successes in Dungeons and Dragons. You can't let the players dictate what they mean. You just are like, no, that's not what happens. You do a good job, but you don't magically get other abilities.
I'm
You
pretty
do a
sure I was.
miraculously good job.
Let's make some characters.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we've got races, we've got cars, boats, planes, tank, forklift, construction. What are you going to choose to be?
Should I choose my class or my race first?
I mean, that's up to you.
That's fair. I kind of want to be a helicopter, so a subclass or a sub race of plane, I suppose.
All right.
And then, gosh, it's hard not to choose wizard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very into wizard, but I feel like there could be more flavor in some other character choices.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with supply. I'll be a supply helicopter.
Okay. And what should I be?
Well, John, that's your choice as an American.
I'm thinking I'm going to be. It's really hard not to pick forklift. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a forklift.
Got it?
And I think I'm going to be. Well, you're already the supply. I'm going to say I'm going to be a spy.
Ooh, spy forklift.
Yep.
Nobody sees it coming. I like that a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm. All right. What is your character's name, Lucas?
You'd think I would have thought of this while you were making your spy forklift.
Yep.
Well, you'd be sorely mistaken.
Just remember, as a plane, you're probably going to have a plane name, as they do in D&D, where dwarves have dwarven names. So, what's a plane name?
Gosh, when you were saying, oh, you'll have a plain name, this will affect what your choice. I was sort of hoping you would be like, in this way. But let's see, a lot of them have, just parts of their whole being wrapped in their names, i.e., Blade Ranger, Dusty Crophopper, etc. So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go Chapo. No, no, Frederick Chopopoulos.
Frederick
Freddy Chops, they
Chopopoulos.
call me.
Freddy Chops Chopopoulos.
Freddy Chops Chopopoulos. That's my character, John, that I've made for your game you spent time making.
Freddy Chops.
Chopopoulos.
I just wrote Freddy Chops Chopopoulos. Chopopolyps is what I've got. All
Don't
right,
ask me how to spell it. I haven't figured it out yet.
All right, so do we know... Wait a minute. Oh boy, I just realized something. There is a naming convention for forklifts. They get one name.
Guido, Maru,
They get one name and it's
Dottie,
two
yeah.
syllables. One name, two syllables.
Huh. Weird.
And except for Dottie, they're all like non-American names. What would be a good... You know what? Let's go for French. What's a good French name?
Okay. This doesn't get you all the way there, but I will say that there is a convention in a lot of spy names to be like JB, much like your own name.
Mm-hmm.
James Bond, Jack Bauer, Jason Bourne, etc. So something like that, something with a J and a B would be fun.
Okay. Do we know anyone JB spies with French names?
Your name could be JB. JB?
That's my name. It's JB. All right. I don't know how to spell that, but I'm gonna do a JEABEAU.
No, John.
JB.
It's the letter J. It's the letter J, the letter B, in italics.
All right, it's just JB in italics.
JB?
Hello, my name is JB.
This is my associate, Freddy Chops Chopopoulos.
Frederick
At your service, ma'am.
Any of that? All right.
Nobody does. Man,
I can't find that font, so I'm gonna go with caveat instead.
Yeah, maybe like a nice like brush script, like a nice cursive, fancy one. Yeah, I got it.
It's a fancy looking one.
Called.
All right, so your name is Freddy Chops Chopopoulos.
Freddy Chops. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
All right, you are a supply plane helicopter.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to have to decide your stats right now. So for each level, you get 3 skill points to put wherever you want.
What level am I?
Actually, no. You get 3, 2, and 1. So you get 6, and you get, let's say you're level 1 right now.
I get 6 points?
You get 6 points to spend.
Huh. Okay. I'm going to say...
And one of those points has to... Well, you have to put at least 1 in each category.
Checks out. So... I'm thinking just 1 in body.
All right.
Trying to decide whether to go heavy on mind, which we called something else.
Skill,
thank you. I'm thinking 4 skill, 2 mods.
All right. I think I did math bad.
Hey, man. Happens to the best of us.
Wait a minute.
Well, I also did 7 points.
You did math.
I did bad math.
Math bad. That was it. Okay. So
take away a point in mind then. Yeah. 1, 3, 2.
Okay. All right. And for little JB, he shall be, I'm going to say 1 in body because let's face it, he's a small guy. Skill, I'm going to reverse yours. For skill, he's going to have 2, and for mods, he's going to have 3 because he's a spy boy.
We could use a tank on our team. A tank or a racer. Could.
We need another player.
It could also be like we could just have an NPC party member if we needed one.
True. We also need a DM.
John, you're just gonna have to be a player DM. That
That
happens.
works, which means my character will kind of be an NPC in a manner of speaking. I'll
You
play the
will be playing.
character, but I'll also be DMing.
If it helps, we can make co-decisions for the tank.
All right. So we got a tank, and that tank is going to be well, we're not going to make them a healer. We're not going to make
That
them a
would be.
spy. We're not going to make them a supply.
I don't remember the other ones.
We
Racer
got
doesn't make a
Racer,
ton of sense.
but I love it.
That is, Are they a literal tank? You would say.
Absolutely. Lucas, imagine a tank that is heavily into speed and mods. It's the
See,
Batmobile.
that's fair enough. What I was kind of thinking, tank still very into speed, no mods. We we would have 4 body, 1 mind, or 1 skill, 1 mods. He's just dumb as a brick, but man, he hits hard and goes fast.
Yes, he does. Vroom vroom
Yes,
on the
sir.
tank. All right. So I like that. Just all in body?
Yeah, I kind of really like 411 for him. What's the
Okay.
411?
We got 1 skill and 1 mod. All right. And what's the name for this tank character?
Okay, hear me out. Treads lightly. First name Treads, last name Lightly. Or if we want to reverse it and make it a less ironic name and more on the nose, it could be like Treads Loudly.
All right. But here's my thing. We know of how many military vehicles? I can only
Like,
think of like 3,
yeah, something like that.
and one of them was named Sarge. One of them was named Skipper.
Yeah, Skipper.
And what was the other one named?
His little friend,
Mm-hmm.
Sparky, which also adds to your. They all have 2 syllable names.
Yep. All right. Are we going to count this person's name as a militaristic name, or are we going to count it as uh, a race-specific name like we did for us? Because if we're doing militaristic, it clearly has to be one name.
John, I don't know if you could tell. I was very very proud of Treads Loudly / Lightly.
But what I'm proposing is, what if we named the tank Tank?
That's very good. It's good. Okay, Private Treads Loudly. Private Treads. Gunnery Sergeant Treads Loudly.
All right.
Admiral Treads. Oh gosh, this one's cracked me up more than I thought it would here at the end.
All right, let's go for Gunner
Sure,
Tank Treads.
because I mean, it could be like my best friend and favorite character I've ever created, Freddy Chops, in which Treads is his nickname. So it can be Gunner. You said Gunner Tank.
His name is Gunner Treads. His nickname is Tank.
I'm gonna have to fight you. I want Tank to be his name, Treads to be his nickname, because I want
All
to
right,
refer
then
to him
I'm
as
getting rid
Treads.
of I'm getting rid of Gunner, meaning his legal name is Tank Treads.
Hey man, if that's the compromise we've come to, that's it.
All right. Tank Treads is just his name. And for his stats, we got 1 skill, 4 body, and 1 mod.
I love it. He's my favorite character. Besides,
All
of
right.
course, Freddy Chops.
Originally, how I had it laid out is we were going to have the stats be that for a car, it's you start off with, if you choose car, you get, I think, 2 each. And then if you're a boat or a plane, generically, you get that. But since you're a helicopter, which is a like specialty class in that, we can have it be different.
I would say you would get less. Honestly, how I've kind of got it, less in body, more in uh, skill is how I would compare a
That
helicopter
would
to a plane if we're
sounds right.
breaking it down into stats.
All right. And then for a tank, I'm guessing we're going to have more in body.
We can give him a bit more in. It can be. I would say Tank would also get mods as
So I'd
like their
say
race bonus.
skill 1, body 3, mods 2.
Yes, as like their bonus they get. Is that
Mm-hmm.
how this works? I don't know what we're doing right now.
This is just race bonus.
Cool, got it.
All right. And for a forklift,
I can't decide skill because they can be dexterous, or mods because they can make their arms out of different things. Definitely not body because they're tiny little fellas.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be you get no bonus to body 3 of the other 2.
Okay. If we're considering that, I'm good with you get the tank. I'm going to do the same. It's 0 skill, 3 body, 3 mods. For the helicopter, you want to keep it at
I think we had it at skill 3, mods 2, body 1. So my stats I also chose
yeah,
for him, which
3,
I
2,
think
1.
is fine. Yeah.
All right. Would it be crazy to take one more away from mods in tank and put it into body? So it's
That I
0, 4, 2.
John, I was thinking it, but it was your game, so I figured you would know how to balance it better, but I think that would make more sense.
Oh, it's so good.
Tank's gonna be so good.
At one thing, and it's plowing through everyone.
And we stay in the back and do spy and supply stuff.
Mm-hmm. You supply more tank. I
Yeah,
spy
sure.
on all of the tank's enemies and report back to the tank.
Yep, checks out.
I think I can make a general campaign for the 3-player characters. This is gonna be great. Do we want to make another character?
Do you think the party needs it?
No.
So, so no, I guess.
All right. Now, monsters. I've already got motorcycles.
I mean, the farm equipment is animals and tries to kill you a lot.
All right. Farm equipment.
Monster truck. Bit
Okay.
on the nose.
I mean, it's no vampires.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of is. But
Well, I have already included vampires, you see.
no, I understand.
All right. And
Other
I'm just going to
things.
throw in undead.
Yeah, human undeads. That human zombies. No, but the
I
car
was
zombies
thinking just like
probably.
super rusted out cars.
Yeah, and like in that deleted scene, that always freaks you out about
Yep.
him like going to the junkyard, like junked cars.
Oh, I'm going to put eye salesman.
Ooh, yeah,
All right, that's beautiful. We've got a campaign cooking.
we sure do, bud.
So yeah, this is gonna be our first actual like 2-parter episode, I think. Oh boy. We're gonna have
Yeah,
to record this. We're gonna have to play this game that I have made and see how absolutely insane it is.
I'm already developing backstory for Freddy Chops, so don't worry about that. I'm
Uh
excited. This will be fun.
and JB, he's gonna be oh no. I guess
Wow,
he's a French spy.
he's infiltrated.
He's infiltrated. But he just tells everyone his actual name. And then there's good old Tank Treads.
Tank treads. Oh, he sure do, and you better get out of the way.
All right. I didn't do a good job. I got a fun fact of the
Vis-a-vis.
day and a not so fun fact of the day just sitting there, and I don't know how to put them in the show.
Sounds like you're
Lucas, I
doing it
don't know how to
right
put them in the
now.
show.
Or
So
you can just not say them. It's up to you.
fun fact of the day. Oh no, not very fun fact of the day. So
Sure.
in Stranger Things, they refer to their monster as a demigorgon because it looks like the creature that they call the demigorgon that they had a piece for. Well, the thing they were holding up was not a demigorgon. And then fun fact of the day, because it was so popular, it was retroactively made correct by the creation of a D&D campaign that is Stranger Things themed.
Honestly, that sounds pretty fun.
Yep. Lucas, can we talk about what an actual demigorgon is?
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I guess you'll just have to tune in next week where John explains what a D&D monster is.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell the audience now. It's a monster with 2 heads. They're baboon heads, and they're baboon heads with different personalities. And then the arms are just tentacles. The legs are like weird dragon legs and a dragon tail.
Huh. A pretty interesting monster.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty weird one.
Very much so. Its self-proclaimed title, Prince of Demons.
Don't want to see the rest of that royal family, am I right?
I mean, I really do.
Secondary joke about the prince royal family. Well, let's hope they step back as official royals. That was a topical joke about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Let's
Okay.
end the show now that I've made a British royal family joke.
Sure, but first, I need you to explain all of that to me. I was at work and I heard someone say, what if Megan was just like a spy who infiltrated and was just trying to get him to like come to our side? And I was so confused at work, and I'm pretty sure they're talking about that situation. What's going on?
Honestly, I don't know enough, but I do know enough to say my explanation will be definitely not that.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
literally, I am certain it's not that.
Okay.
Or I'm ending the show.
I apologize if this was light on the jokes.
No time for it. I'm ending the show. Shut up.
Okay. I'm so tired.
Thank you for listening. It was a cool thing for you to do. I'm sorry I told John to shut up. I'm going to apologize to the audience and not you, John. You know what you did.
That's fair. And remember to like, comment, subscribe. Please email us. Please suggest a wiki name that doesn't require one of us to make a fart noise.
That'd be cool.
That includes you, Faith. Please, no more fart noises, because I'm going to be real. It took me several seconds to get over it when it happened. I knew it was coming, and I still didn't expect it. I still didn't expect it. He's an editor and a chief and a true friend, and also, I guess, a plane.
I'm a helicopter.
Yeah, but like that's your sub. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. I'm coming at you very hot. If you want to submit the name for the wiki quote, you can do that at our email, which is thekachat@gmail.com, or you can tweet it at us at thekachat on Twitter. That's all we say. I'm almost certain. So I'm Lucas.
And I'm John.
Okay, until next time, don't forget to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.
Freddy Chops!
Tiny robots are